Now, I'm very happy to welcome back an amazing capper, odds maker, and longtime friend of the show who works on both sides of the window, and Mr. Raphael Esparza from Doc Sports and MyBookie.com. Welcome him to the Odds Breakers on the biggest week. Well, actually, next week is, I suppose, but the true bettors are getting ahead of these things. The biggest week coming up in the Super Bowl betting. Follow Raphael on X at VSI Doc Sports. Raphael, thanks for coming back. I got to tell you, I got real excited prepping for this show. I think this is one of my favorites to talk about throughout the year.
It is for me, but here's my dilemma. WWE decides to put their Royal Rumble this Saturday. I was thinking I was going to have a nice, easy flow of doing Super Bowl prop bets, but since they're now over at Netflix and every sports book, even in the US, if they could take them, they would probably put odds on it because you're talking about a billion people who watch it now on Netflix who 90% of people have Netflix at home that can watch this UFC early on Saturday. So WWE is pulling a full puncher on that. But thank you lots, WWE, because not only do I have to do that, but I'm still doing Taylor Swift prop bets. I finally finished the national anthem prop bets. So it's just one thing after another.
Oh, it certainly is, my man. And you're a busy man this time of year. But it's funny. I was prepping for this show because I remember I suggested a prop bet to you. I couldn't remember exactly what it was. And so I went back and listened to our last show, which was, I believe, in late December or early December. I started listening, and I'm hearing myself ask each other who goes to the Super Bowl, gun to the head, and I'm saying the Chiefs. The Chiefs probably. How could you bet against the Chiefs? And then I realized I didn't even bet them to go to the Super Bowl, Ref. So I can't even follow my own freaking advice.
Yeah, well, I'll trump you on that one, no pun intended, on the president right now. But I think I said on your show that I like the Cleveland Browns to win as a dark horse on the Super Bowl. So maybe my selection just tells you what I did this year in football right now. So you didn't bet the Chiefs because I do remember you saying that, but I'm almost 110% positive. I said keep an eye out for the Cleveland Browns.
Oh yeah, what's nice. Sometimes it's just better to completely whiff because that way you're not sweating it out.
Yeah. Week 3 I was done. I'm like, woohoo!
Sweating enough college basketball lately and being on some of the wrong sides of those haven't been fun. I just rather just get beat right away. I'll turn it off and do something else, my man. But here we are. The Super Bowl is upon us. How many props are going to be out there for the Super Bowl? I feel like there's more and more every single year.
Well, there's some grumblings in a couple of books that I consult and I talk to and stuff like that. Some books asked me, I think 3 weeks ago, is it possible to do 5K? I'm like, 5K? I'm like, is there something different? Are they doing something different in the Super Bowl that I don't know about? Are we adding the Puppy Bowl to the Super Bowl seat that I can maybe add those prop bets? So I'm thinking we'll see close to a little over 3. I think last year was, I think I saw the most some book had was 2,700 around that one. So I could see 3 just because you can add a little more on Taylor Swift prop bets because this is her second Super Bowl. You can add a little bit more Kelsey prop bets because could he retire after Super Bowl? We have Barkley, can he run for 500 yards? I mean, he could do some miracle things on it. So we can add probably a little bit more because of the names in the Super Bowl, Hurts, Barkley, Tush Push. I mean, we can add a little bit more than, let's say, if Washington was in it or something like Washington would have been the world's worst for prop wise. Now, I'm not disrespecting the football program, but prop wise, I think we can only do so much quarterback prop bets for Jay and Daniels. But Robinson, the running back's not going to bring in a lot of prop bet wanting stuff like that. But I think the 2 teams that we got are probably is equal. Buffalo would have been equal as well, just because of Bills Mafia and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's going to be thousands of prop bets out there, like you mentioned. And cover your ears, Ref. Cover your ears. Cover your ears. Everybody, most of them suck. Most of these are terrible bets. Just to let you know, I would say I looked at DraftKings. Some of the crap that they're putting together. Most of these are losing bets. Do not succumb to them if you're serious. Okay, you can already cover your ears.
Would agree to some point on that ones. I mean, some of the ones are like maybe don't even get a small handful of action or just putting it up. And I make like if you're really gonna bet, would it be a safety and betting the no at that huge minus price just to win $5 or something like that? I think that's kind of ridiculous. But you're better off betting a Nurmagomedov and a UFC fight than betting some of these prop bets on
Yeah.
that we see that we have listed in some of these sports books.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, hey, man, what are some of the most popular props that people like to play for the Super Bowl?
I mean, this year alone, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce would be one of the popular, especially Kelce. He usually has really good Super Bowls, and he had a dud against Buffalo. He was nowhere to be found. I don't know, maybe it just decoyed him, or Mahomes just wanted to spread the ball around. So I think he will be a lot popular. I think both running backs. I think it's going to be a run game, especially with Barkley. You figure if Philly wants to win this game, they need to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, not on the field. So they're going to want to control the clock. So I think Barkley rushing attempts, Jalen Hurts rushing attempts are really popular right now. How many rushing attempts will the Philadelphia Eagles have for different players? Over under is 4.5 right now. I'll tell you that right now. It's one of my plays I'm probably going to give you later. I like the under and that one. I just don't see 5 different players in the Eagles having rushing attempts right now, but that's a popular one. And then, of course, the MVP. Everyone's either betting Barkley or Mahomes. Barkley, Mahomes. There's a couple ones I think there's some value on there. I think defensive wise, especially in the Eagles, I think you can get some good plus money. Let's say I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Went to one of the Philadelphia Eagles defensive guys. Let's say if he gets 2 or 3 Mahomes sacks and they win the game, and how would you not put him on the high list of an MVP vote?
Jalen Carter?
Yeah, thank you. Jalen Carter. Yeah, I think he was a ridiculous price for an MVP. But let's say he has a monster game and sacks Patrick Mahomes and they win. But we could have another dud. Let's say if it's like a 13-3. Remember that Super Bowl a couple years ago, 13-3? That was a dud one. How did a defensive player not get an MVP vote on that game? It surprises me. But I think those are the probably most popular ones just because of the names attached to those popular bets.
Well, yeah, and the prices on the ones you mentioned, that makes sense. So, I mean, are these halftime props popular? You know, it sounds like you're prepared for them.
For entertainment purposes, yeah, the halftime props are good. But
what about the coin flip? Coin flip.
It's funny you ask because I was doing some research on that. But I'm going to give you a little a tidbit on Barkley to 2+ touchdowns is probably one of the biggest liability right now. For the Eagles, so 2+ touchdowns on that one. So the coin toss, there's 58 coin tosses so far in the Super Bowls. 28 have been heads and 30 have been tails. So there's not that much advantage when you're looking at that one. The longest win streak, heads went 5 straight. That's the longest win streak when it comes to the coin toss. People like to bet with a winner win the coin toss, which is normally not the case on that one. The winner doesn't usually win the Super Bowl. And I like how some books, remember back in the day, it was just flat -110, -110, -120, -120. Now, I like how the books are doing -105 to juice on the coin toss because it's so popular. My wife will bet it. Hey, give me heads. Or I mean, I hear so many people, oh, I bet the coin toss. That might be their only action because they're not maybe the biggest football fan. But everyone knows when the coin toss is going on in the game is the first thing. So I would say that's a very popular bet. And I like how some sports books are actually putting bigger limits. I mean, they're not putting $10,000 on the coin toss, but they're not putting $10 or it's a $10 limit bet and you're trying to bet 20 and it's declining it right now. So I like how some sports books are, bumping it up a little because they know that those bettors could be their wives, could be their girlfriends, could be a guy that only likes soccer, but he's forced to watch the Super Bowl. He wants to put down on some action. So I like how the books bumped up the limits on the coin toss.
All right, well, there you go. There's a few that are +100, and I respect that. I found a few out there, so
yeah,
I would never take it unless it was +100 or better. I'm still probably not going to take it. Give me +102 or more, then I'll take it. I figured that, it's still like, why am I gambling on something that is a passion to me that I feel like I have an edge on? So, and now if I do, I still will play the blackjack at 48, 49%, whatever, and things like that, because that's when I feel like gambling. I don't do it often, maybe once or twice a year, but that's how I feel when it comes to that. But what's funny about some of these props, like I look at DraftKings, they have some stupid names. They have one called "Who's Afraid of Little Old Me?" It's Travis Kelce to have 4+ receptions in each half. Who's afraid of little old me? Are they reading like the Big Bad Wolf or something?
I think that FanDuel has some ridiculous names, and I think what they're trying to do is they know that they can't put out some of these prop bets that other books across the pond can put up. So they're trying to look at these. So viewers are looking at these and say, "Ooh, that's a funny name. Let's look at the site and try to find other funny names," and then you catch yourself betting these prop bets. So I think that's what they're doing. They can't put up the Taylor Swift prop bets. They can't put up the commercial prop bets. They can't put up a lot of stuff. Will Tom Brady say this? What color is Tom Brady? They can't put up stuff like that. So I'll give them a little hats off. I saw when you sent me what we talking about. I have to give them a little hats off because they're trying to catch the viewer's eye. Because if you catch the viewer's eye, you can probably catch a little bit of their wallet. So if you're looking at their site and you're reading these, oh, that's kind of funny. Oh, that's kind of dumb. Oh, let me search the Super Bowl drop screen and see what other funny stuff or what other stupid stuff they have. And they can find out catching you maybe betting $20 or $30 when you maybe not would have bet that 10 or 15 minutes ago.
All right. Well, yep, that's very true. So they're just trying to draw you in. Yeah, but I think it's just it's
idiotic,
like,
but yeah.
Come on, be a little more creative than that. Who's afraid of little old me? Jesus.
13-year-old did that.
I'm embarrassed on behalf of them. So who's singing the national anthem? And when are the numbers going to be out on that to bet?
They are out, and one of my wife's favorite performers is John Batiste, and he's actually singing the national anthem. Over unders on 123.5 seconds. And last time I checked, I think the over was -120. I haven't checked it maybe about an hour ago when I was prepping for this show. I like there's two preppers. Will he play the pianos? -$4. I don't think he does because he's very well known for I'm going to try to pronounce this correct. My wife was teaching me the harmonica board. It's kind of a flute / piano. He's very well known for playing this. We have that up at +175 for yes. I'm going to take the +1, even though I made this number myself. I can't bet it, but I'm going to take the plus at 175. I did a little research and was watching some of his recent performances, and he has that with him a lot. So I'm going to take John Batiste to play his one of his known instrument, the harmonica board. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, and my wife's probably listening to me. She's going to yell at me after I get off the air, but I'm going to take the +175 on that one.
Harmonica board, did you call it?
Yes.
Harmonica board. Okay, I guess I don't even know what that is. Maybe some sort of
if you and this is how well known he is. If you type in that's HARMONABORD. If you type that in a Google search, he actually comes up holding it.
Okay, well there you go. I'm looking at Bet Online and I still don't see the anthem. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong place. I clicked on exotics. I'll find it later. Not a big deal. But it's 123 seconds and juiced to the over. So it sounds like we're going to have a relatively longer, drawn out last note of the national anthem.
Well, that tells me the length of it tells me he's probably going to play an instrument, piano, and other instruments, so he can drag out. I hate to use the word drag out a national anthem. I apologize for that. I think the national anthem might be a little bit longer for that one, playing an instrument. So I think that's why. Last time I checked, BetOnline had 123 seconds. My bookie had 123.5 seconds. That half a second can be very big when it comes to the national anthem. So be very aware of that one. So I would definitely check those out.
All right. Well, Kendrick Lamar is playing halftime, and he's a rapper, and and I know one song, the one they're playing all the time on the radio. I think it's Not Like Us or something. And
that was a favorite at one point.
Even with Rihanna doing it a few years ago. This is the least I know about somebody, and I'm interested in the props on that, as I always am. But here's the problem: I would be the worst person to get any advice or research it. Are you a Kendrick Lamar fan? Do you listen to his stuff on repeat in your car when you're driving to the gym, when you're driving to Caesars, when you're driving to Circa? What do you know about him?
I've said this on multiple shows, and a lot of people are shocked at this. I am not the biggest music guy. I mean, when my wife's driving around or I'm driving, yeah, of course we have music on that because if she's in the car, I'm not allowed to listen to talk radio. But I'm not the biggest music guy. I know who Kendrick Lamar. I think he was dating one of the Kardashian sisters, or maybe he still is. But I'm familiar with him, but not familiar with him, if that makes sense. But I'll talk to him on a betting wise point of view to make me kind of look smart. Not like us opened up as a small favorite. I think it was like minus 105 around there. It's now 2-1, and Humble is now minus 175. What's Humble yesterday was at minus 140. So I'm thinking Humble will be that one. Will Kendrick Lamar wear a hoodie? He always wears something hoodie. I'm saying no at minus 150 because it's supposed to be in the high 70s on Super Bowl. Why would you want to wear a hoodie when it's winter in the high 70s with humidity? So I don't think he's going to be wearing a hoodie at that one. And then over under 10.5 songs. It was 9.5 originally, maybe months ago. And of course, we're in the minus on that one. I can tell you that right now. The books are in the minus on the over of total songs in it because right now it's at 10.5. But of course, we had to add a Taylor Swift prop. Will Taylor Swift join Kendrick Lamar at halftime for the halftime show? We had to put that. The no is minus 6,000. The no should be minus 10,000, but we have it at the no minus 6,600.
I bet the no at minus 600. But you'll probably only give me a $25 limit too.
I do this every show during Super Bowl. I am not responsible for limits. I only send in the prop bets. I am not responsible for limits. So don't tweet at me. Don't yell at me. Your book sucks. We hate you. I am not responsible for customer service or max bets or limit bets. I am just the guy that just gives them the content.
That I'm gonna look for that one anyway. It's just so I can find it.
And then yell at me when they decline you for only $10 bet. I know what you're doing, Kiev. I know what you're doing.
I would think Not Like Us is their last song because it's the most acknowledgeable one. So I think that would.
I would think so too.
I mean, and that's just. But then again, we're not like him, so I could be completely wrong.
Now, keep an eye out for this. I am not doing this just because I live in New Orleans, and New Orleans is a very popular music city. If any sportsbook puts out will anybody collaborate with Kendrick Lamar besides Taylor Swift, I would bet that yes, because there's a lot of grumblings. There's a lot of big names that perform here in New Orleans that could jump up on stage and do some collaborations with him. Lil Wayne's from here. People wanted him to be the halftime show. So I would, if you see a prop bet like that, again, I am not putting it up there myself just because it wouldn't shock me if we see someone jump up on stage.
Yeah, Lil Wayne will be there if that's the case. Yeah, I'd love that one because last year, if you remember, it was Usher, and I said that Little John is going to show up. I said, "There's no way he's not," and he did. And he did. And that was plus money. And I bet that on 2 places because that's all I can get down. But that was great. And I feel like it also takes the nerves away a little bit when you have other people joining.
Yeah.
Not like I know if he gets nervous and unless you're Rihanna, she's done this a million times. But like I think that it kind of it makes the show better because you have different angles and people to come in, and especially if you're just not as known like Kendrick Lamar to a lot of people and football fans. It's a good introduction to have him with other people and kind of do a little bit of a relation there. So I would definitely bet that if you could find that. But speaking on that, what are some of the ones that you made up, man? Like you said, I'm working on Taylor Swift props. I'm working on Charles Barkley. What do you got for us?
I'll give you a quick one because it ends on Saturday. So Cody Rhodes in the WWE is going for a 3-peat to win the Royal Rumble. Boy, who else is trying to go for a 3-peat? The next week, the Kansas City Chiefs. Will both of them repeat? The no's going to be really heavy. No, the no's going to be heavy because Cody Rhodes is no way in chance. Me and you have a better shot of winning the Royal Rumble than Cody Rhodes, but I could skip that out just because it's very rare to do anything 3-peat in any sport or anything in life. So I put that on. That's a fun one.
Can we bet the no? This one. Can we bet the no on that?
It's like 10. It's like 1,000 or like 1,500 or something like that. But I did forget to mention: will Kendrick Lamar mention Taylor Swift during the halftime show. So that's another one that I created. And not only will she join him on stage, but will he even just mention her on stage? And that's minus 1,000 as well. But I'm working on the commercial ones right now as well. So I'll be working because they were announced yesterday. Like they got completely sold out, 8 million, blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to be working on those ones. I wanted to run by this one because we all know that the color red dye is banned. You're not supposed to use it and all that. Wouldn't it be a perfect Super Bowl prop bet or Super Bowl marketing prop bet to have M&M's do a punt on the red M&M that he's no longer to be on TV because he's banned? Wouldn't it be the greatest place to do that on a Super Bowl halftime or Super Bowl day is to produce that one? So
Great
I'm
marketing.
thinking. I'm trying to figure out the verbiage for that because for prop bets, verbiage and rules is like you can think of a million things to do prop bets, but if you don't label it correctly or if you don't have rules correctly, you can get burned on it. So I'm working on something like that one. But right now, Taylor Swift odds are really popular. Well, Travis Kelce retire after the game. Me and you have talked about this. I think he retires.
Was that the one that I suggested to you in
Yes.
December?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I want to see that one. Does Kelsey retire this year between, and it won't pay till NFL game one, just like the Tom Brady stuff and all that. Does Kelsey retire this year between the Super Bowl and NFL game one? So you get to hold on to her money, which your bosses love for a while. And I think that's a pretty good prop because I kind of think me and you kind of discussed this with his brother making all that money, being an announcer, having all this fun, not getting banged up, going out a winner, blah blah blah, three-peater. I think it's a great prop.
One of the prop bets I'm working on is Tom Brady. Will he mention Gisele Bundchen having a baby from another man on air during his show? So that one is going to be on there. Tom Brady, of course, will probably.
I mean, if there's a good time to joke about it, he might throw that in. If it's a good snarky, well, I got screwed over.
Yeah, or something like will he make fun of his divorce? It's something. I'm again. That's another one I'm working on verbiage. I have will Taylor Swift sew a navel? I was gonna say cleavage again. I've had this. Me and you've had this beef before of other performers and people on there, but I don't think she has any. So I just went with navel because she's not the biggest breast girl that's out there. So navel is one of the ones that's out there. You can bet will she show navel and over under kisses that she gives Travis Kelce if they win the Super Bowl. Over unders 2.5. On that one, and the unders at minus 150, which I still think there's value on that one because let's say if they lose, they ain't going to be kissing. So under lane only minus 150. Just don't tell the bosses I said that, but I think it's still good value at minus 150 on that one. Now, if the Chiefs win and he announces he's retiring, they're going to be making out all over the field, and that plus 110 on the over is going to get crushed. But I'm laying my cards out there that I'm leaning towards the Eagles. I just played
too much PDA, man. Too much PDA.
I just played my poker hand right there. I'm leaning towards the Eagles a little bit. That's why I like the minus 150 on that prop bet. So, and then of course we'll have some UFC. There's a big UFC event on Saturday, probably over under KOs versus maybe punts in the game or field goals in the game. I haven't decided which kicking prop I'm going to use with over under KOs in UFC, and of course the big ones, cross sports bets. There's a lot of great college basketball. I think Wisconsin's playing. Your boys are playing on Super Bowl Sunday. So it should be interesting because Wisconsin likes to score and shoot threes a lot. So I can do some fun prop bets on that.
Yeah,
English Premier League.
There you go.
English Premier League cross promotion. The weights management for golf is in your neck of the woods that weekend. So in Phoenix, we'll have some great golf cross sport.
Yeah, you'll have a lot of cross sport, probably with the UFC also. And I was going to get to that question. Cross sport parlays. I'm thinking like a big UFC one. There's a massive UFC event in 312 coming up. You know, you have Dricus du Plessis and Sean Strickland heading it, right?
Yes.
So you can have one of those tied into the winner of the Super Bowl, which is a great one. Maybe do a fun one with Justin Taffa there too. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Taffa's fighting. I forgot about that. You're right. It's funny how I don't know how many Super Bowl shows me and you have done. But remember back in the day, I think it was the first one, you couldn't parlay Super Bowl prop bets, only like a small handful. Now you can parlay any of these Super Bowl prop bets. These books don't really care anymore. I mean, they're moving the juice so much, they're holding anywhere between
Yeah.
8 to 9% or higher on these prop bets. But it's funny how me and we've done this show so many times. I
Yeah.
just remember that back in the day where me and you were probably still in our low under 40s, we were talking about, oh, you can't parlay prop bets. That's against the rules. And now they could care less.
Yep, exactly. They can care less now. And you're probably not getting the complete 2.6 to 1 on 2 minus 110s.
Yep.
You're not getting that. You might be getting 2.5, 2.4. At least that's what they were doing with their sport parlays, or even the in-game, same game parlays, So you're gonna get screwed on that.
You don't even see minus 110 and player prop bets anymore. It's
Not
just
much.
strictly minus 3 nickels or minus 120 or higher. And I tell people that there's a reason why it's like that. And I tell people, yes, I know you maybe cash your parlays and stuff like that, but back in the day, it used to be only minus 110 on pretty much all parlays. Right now, they're getting you right before you hit submit on your bet, either minus 3 nickels or $1.25 or stuff like they're grabbing you right at the chokehold before you even hit submit with this juice that's on them.
Well, what about Gatorade props? I'm not seeing much of that yet.
Well, I don't know what book did it. It wasn't. I didn't do it, but
my bookie did it last year. It just depends.
We have it. We did it, but someone posted up really early. Right before the Kansas City game was even over last week. And can you tell me who won the Super Bowl the last 2 years?
All right, Chiefs.
Can you tell me what color Gatorade was poured on the Chiefs both years?
I think it was blue.
It was purple.
Wasn't it? Oh, purple.
Purple.
Yeah, that's right, because you love that color. That's right. We talked about that. You hitting it because you loved it. And,
you know what sportsbook opened up purple last Sunday before the game was even over that says Kansas City and a 4-1.
4-1? Oh, my God.
Purple was 4-1.
I'm going to go with William Hill.
No, it wasn't. It was an offshore book that opened it up, but it didn't matter because you figured. Yeah. No, it wasn't me. You figure if one book opened it up, somebody copied it, and they made purple 4-1. Even if you don't think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl, most people could Google search what color Gatorade was dumped on Kansas City last year, purple. Well, you would think they would do a quick search on that one. So it's not 4-1 anymore. I can't remember what it was. Let me see if I can find it. Did they? I don't think they took it down. Did they? I have to look for it again. But yeah,
I don't see it any of my offshore skins. So maybe I'm missing it. I don't know. It's hard to search these days. There's just so much to search through. I mean, I spend more time searching than anything, and it gets annoying. And you're just like, God, I just wasted like an hour just doing searches.
Have your assistant do? Don't you have an assistant?
No, I don't.
You have kids.
I don't have. Well, that's why I don't have an assistant. Well, hey, let's move on to the next then. So let's talk. Well, actually, there's another one. What you talked about, the engaged one, obviously. What about the over/under on Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady saying the refs are doing a great job? I think that they're going to be forced into saying that, whether they're doing a great job or not. But they're going to be scared. I mean, I bet you they're just going to try to bite their tongue a little bit if they see some bad stuff. Because
I'm going to put that prep up. I'm going to put that prep up with the refs doing a good job.
Yeah, and you have to grade it. Like if they say a fantastic or something, it has to be the same premise. But yeah, thank you. I would love to see that one. I just feel like at some point they're going to have to say that because of all the controversy going on. So
that was going to be tough for you to verbalize, and I'll work on that one, like something positive about the refs. But yeah, I would have to search that one a little bit more. But I like that one because you're right. You're 110% correct. You're going to have to say something about, because they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, which everyone thinks they get every call in the world. But I tell people, hey, born and raised in Chicago, had season tickets for the Bulls, went to a gazillion games watching Jordan play, and he got a lot of calls. So if you want to get calls, play better.
Well, there you go. You can name it the obese ref special, and put it right in the front page, my friend. All right. Well, we talked about cross sport parlays a little bit already. let's talk about some of the props we're playing, my man. And you already just gave out one at the beginning of the show. You said Eagles total rushers, people having a rushing attempt under 5, right? Isn't that what you said?
Yes. Under
it's
4, it's 4.5. It's 4.5.
Oh, so under 4.5.
Yeah, under 4.5. I said I don't see them having 5 guys rushing.
I got 3. I got Barkley, Gainwell, and obviously Jalen Hurts. But the problem is if Gainwell's still concussed, will they throw 2 backs in there, and then you might get some Devontae Smith end around? That was the only way. I think that one could get crushed. But I think 2 weeks is enough for Gainwell to come back from his concussion.
I would think so.
Well, if they're blowing out the Chiefs, they're going to get everybody a touch. So that's another worry. But that's also betting a blowout. But maybe you're hedging the blowout. So we'll talk that. That's maybe a tell for what you'll have to say later. I'm going to give out one, and I like Eagles, and I cannot believe this is plus 100. Eagles over 5.5 players to record a reception is plus 100, and it's on DK. Here's the thing, dude, and I know just the last game or two, it was just 5. But if you look throughout the season, it's more than Barkley, Gainwell, A.J. Brown, Smith, and Goddard. Those are the 5 key ones. Are you really to tell me that those are the only people that are going to catch the ball in the Super Bowl? I mean, you can see a Philly special. Philly special is another possibility. I think that's probably going to be a prop somewhere, a Philly special prop. You got that written down?
I do. That's probably going to be 2.5 over under 2.5.
Okay. There you go. So I mean, there's all kinds of playmakers on the Eagles that I think are going to at least have a catch. God, if you look at the roster, people that have had double-digit receptions total during the year. You got Jahan Dotson has 19 receptions. You got Grant Calcaterra with 24 receptions. And I know Goddard was out a little bit, but the truth is they might run 2 tight ends because the Chiefs are bad against tight ends. So Grant Calcaterra, I love this prop. I think it's one of the better ones out there.
Yeah, I agree with that one, especially the tight ends. I mean, we all know the Chiefs cannot guard the tight ends, and people think, the Chiefs won, but Buffalo could have easily won that game last week, and they were playing in Kansas City, so it's not like, they won at Buffalo. I can't believe they're the greatest team than sliced bread. So it's a totally different one. And like I said, I mentioned the Saquon Barkley 2 plus 2 touchdowns or more. I played that one just because I think they're going to use him enough to where he's so magical. Anytime he gets the ball, I mean, he could run one, and I don't care what kind of defense you're playing with them. Washington had really good defense, and he found a way to sneak one past him and blow him by for an early touchdown. So I like the 2 plus touchdowns, and like I said before, I'm looking for a lot of rushing attempts, especially for the Eagles, because I think the Eagles are going to be. They're not going to score 55 points against Kansas City. I mean, that was something very rare that we saw last week when they played Washington, because the Eagles don't have that. I mean, yes, they have stars, but they're not a really high-power offensive team. I just think they'll be very conservative on the running game to try to keep the guy that could only beat them off the field, and that's Patrick Mahomes. I mean, yes, the Chiefs have a really good defense, but Patrick Mahomes is the reason why they win a lot of games.
I mean, you said it right there, and that's why I lean to the under, and I like the first half under, because the Chiefs try to speed this game up. They want to get it over with, because they know at the very end they have the edge. At the very end, they have the edge on every team. So why not just drain the clock and just get to that point? And that's what they're doing. They're draining the hell out of the clock. First half under 24.5 was one of my first plays I made this week. It's down to 24 now. I think that's a great look, first half under. So good call on that. I agree. And actually, I'm going to be betting a lot of unders, Raph. And next week when I do my full-blown prop releases, you're going to see a lot of unders on these Chiefs. And I might even just blanket the receivers unders. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I just believe that this is how this game is going to be played. Even if you get some stats from the Eagles, it doesn't always mean it's going to be a blowout either. So I'm looking that way. But what other so you like the Barkley over 2 TDs? Is that what you said for your second one? Okay, I'm going to give you a second one. and you know I do this every year. First score field goal, it's plus 150 on DK. I found it for plus 350 Chiefs and plus 325 Eagles on offshores, which makes a blended odds of plus 168. So I did those, which is this, you can do 150 on DK. And my theory for a first score field goal, Raph, is always they're timid. They don't want to take chances. They don't want to blow a touchdown. They don't want an interception. These are very stingy defenses when it comes to giving up touchdowns. I see two pretty good field goal kickers, especially Butker, and it's probably going to be the Chiefs side that gets the field goal, but that's one I like.
Yeah, I do like some of the kicking power. I'm going to probably play Eagles total kicking points for that one, just because we've seen it so many times this year that teams left field goals off the field. These two teams won't. I think both of them are going to, if they can get 3 points right away, they're going to grab the 3 points right away because they think this game's probably going to be maybe 1 3-point or less. That's why the number is only 1.5. Dan Campbell's not playing this game. Washington's not playing this game. If those two were in it, I wouldn't even touch a kicking prop bet on this one. But I do believe that both teams are going to be kicking field goals or grabbing the points when presented to them. And I think the Eagles will get those 3 points. They did it against Washington. They didn't go toe to toe with Washington with going to 4th downs like Washington in the first half. I don't think Washington did a punt in the first half. They went for the 4th down, I think 4 straight times. Yeah. So I like the kicking prop bet for total kicking points for the Eagles kicker. I don't have it in front of me.
I think it's 6.5. I think it's 6.5.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it from memory, but that's a good price because 2 field goals and an extra point, you are there. That's a pretty good price. I like that one too. I'll write that down. Eagles kicker over. What about Dallas Goedert? We already talked about that. I took him over 4.5 receptions. I laid minus 120 a few days ago. It's probably 140, 150, but I still like it. I think this is the best outlet for Hurts right now.
Yes.
Against very good cornerbacks in the Chiefs. They always leave that tight end wide open. And unfortunately, Dalton Kincaid didn't grab that last one. That would have got me over the last drop. But I think first of all, the refs, blah blah blah. Yeah, we know what they did. But the Bills played to lose. They kept being just too vanilla, not attacking with that Bills great offense. They also played to lose that game. And I think the Eagles won't do that because they're out for revenge. I like Dallas Goedert over 4.5 receptions.
Love that play. And I feel bad for the people who had the Buffalo tight end prop bet on that one, but I love that one because we just already discussed it that KC cannot guard the tight ends, and if you have 2 tight ends that can catch the ball, that's really punishing for Kansas City. So I do love that prop bet. I'm gonna give you a sneak peek of a prop bet that plays in a couple of days. Give me the AFC NFC flag football over. The total is going to be 89.5. Come on, this is flag football. It's going to go way over 89.5. A little bit shocked that books put up 89.5. They asked me over at my book what I would put it up. I would say easily in the mid 90s, and then some book put up at 89.5. So flag football, put it over.
All right, well, there you go. And I don't disagree with that at all. I like Isaiah Pacheco over 3.5 receiving yards, minus 115 too. And I think that's just too low. He did get that big pass at the end that took my prop over last game. But the truth is they're not running him as a running back. I don't know why they dumped on him like that. I thought he was awesome running the ball last year. He had that extra motor. But I hate to say it, Kareem Hunt's just better at running. He is. And Kareem Hunt used to be the dual threat too that got the receptions. But they're just throwing Pacheco and Samaje Perine in there. But Pacheco's is just way lower at 3.5. One screen pass, you nail on this. I like Pacheco over 3.5 receiving yards.
I like Saquon Barkley under on his total rushing and receiving yards. It's 133.5. Now I said that right now. We are taping this January 30th. Do not bet this right now. If you're watching it, wait because Joe Public is going to bet everything and anything Barkley.
Okay.
For a whole week. We can maybe see 136. We can see something like that. So don't bet the 133. Wait to see how high this total goes up because everyone knows the running back Barkley. We could see a better number if you like to under like I do.
It's funny, and I'm glad you brought that up. And I agree with the Barkley part. But with all the other guys, minus AJ Brown, let's say. I think the books have been setting them kind of high. And I've seen in last Super Bowls, I wait and wait to hit the unders, and all of a sudden they go down on Saturday and they don't ever go back up to what they were. I think that back in the day when we were doing this, we'd always wait to the last second to bet the unders. I'm not sure if that's a good thing now, because even Joe Public can't even push some of these up. I mean, there's just too many playmakers on the Chiefs.
I agree. But one thing I tell people, if you're waiting for your number and either the books took it down or that number doesn't get, then oh well. I mean, this is gambling. Why would I? It's not like I'm going to McDonald's and I want a Whopper. No, I
Right.
mean, it's just not going to be there. So just drive on through, go somewhere and wait for another day. Just because I'm waiting for I would love to see 136 on this prop bet. If this stays at 133.5, you know what? Probably not going to bet it because it's not the number I want. I'm not betting it just to bet it. I'm not one of those guys, and I know you're not one of those guys. Hey, I'm going to be watching the Super Bowl. I might as well just bet this because I'm going to be watching it. No, if I lose
Absolutely.
$20, I lose $20 and I'm mad. It's because I did something wrong or I didn't get my number. If I don't get my number, I'm not playing it. I move on.
Right. Great advice. Amazing advice. Probably the best advice that you could give someone on this stuff. Don't chase. Don't bet crap because you want to see it. Because, like I said earlier, and like Raph said, we don't think that the Chiefs or the Eagles are getting up 55 points. We think that this could be a really methodical game, and so that means nobody goes over. And if you're have all your eggs in one basket and your portfolio is completely shy to a lot of points, you could be very disappointed. You want to have a very diversified portfolio of prop bets, don't you, Raph?
I 110% agree with you. We've said that, and I've said it in multiple shows, and I get yelled at for saying at multiple shows because they're sponsored by a sportsbook. Oh no, you can't say that. No, I can't say that because I'm trying to educate people. I've been doing this, and you've been doing this forever. I rather educate someone on the pluses and minuses than gambling than tell them place this bet, place this bet, place this bet, and it's a bad bet.
100%. Let's talk about some more long shots that I like that I still think have some value. And this ties to tight ends again. You know what's interesting? I'm going to do I've done about 4 or 5 just for 0.2 stars a piece, right? So they only add up to 1 unit, first TD. And I like to do that. I think there is some value if you really look at the matchups. I know the running backs are probably going to do it, and they might break this prop. But I have one of them I made is Dallas Goedert at plus 1,800. So that's 18-1 that he gets the first TD. Why not? If the Chiefs are that weak, that's your handicap. You would just put 0.2 stars on it. That's not a big amount. I think that's part of my bets. And that's kind of – and I have some more for you next week. But I like Noah Gray, okay? Now, he scored 5 touchdowns this year, Raph. 5 out of 20 games. What should the number be? 25% or 75%? He, hasn't, but 25% he scored a touchdown in his games. Plus 300, right? Isn't that the number? Plus 300. Yeah. So his number is plus 600 to score an anytime touchdown. If you scored 5 out of 20 games, doesn't that mean that your number should be plus 300? Well, I'm not a math whiz or anything, but I can see that this is way off.
Well, you know why it's way off, though? Because they're so heavy on Barkley and Mahomes type of props where you have to make that number high to balance all the action you're getting on the top 3 anytime touchdown. So, yeah, they have to make those numbers that high because as soon as you look at that, your eyes are going to be focusing on Patrick Mahomes, Barkley Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Barkley Hurts, and throw in Kelsey and maybe some AJ Brown. But this is when you have to do math in your head, write it down, or use a calculator, and like you said, research it and say, wait, this number should be this. Why is it this? Well, the books are heavy on the name stars. Again, these numbers might be totally different if the Commanders were in the Super Bowl because they only have one really big star, so they don't have to worry about, oh, we're going to get crushed on 3 or 4 bets compared to, oh, Washington's only going to get one guy getting crushed on the bet. So it's great analysis, great research on what you did to get that number.
Well, I appreciate that, man. And that's, sometimes just how you attack the game. You want to side on the books. They're siding with the fact that they want Noah Gray to score an anytime touchdown because everyone's going to be on it. If Barkley doesn't score a touchdown, the books are probably going to have a pretty good day because that's going to be such a very, very heavily used prop. It's probably going to be tied to a lot of parlays as well. So
It's probably going to be one of the bigger profitable days than like Walter Payton not scoring a touchdown when the Bears won it.
yeah, right. That hurt. That hurt my feelings back in '86. I wasn't quite betting then at 9 years old, but I was certainly thinking about it.
We were betting Oreos and juice boxes by then.
Yeah, we're betting. You're betting who can jump over the creek with your bike, and if you losing the bet is basically falling into the creek really hard on the rocks and the stones.
And I can guarantee you would not let your kids do that right now.
No, I wouldn't. I certainly wouldn't, but I hope they kind of have that kind of spirit and adventure. Well, that brings us to like our super long shots then with the beer bet bangers, my man. Beer bet bangers, as you know, has the most not the best odds, but the best payouts type thing. I like it. It's funny how we talk, right? I'm going to go with an MVP that I could see this game. It's probably not going to happen clearly, but 18-15, 18-12, 18-14. Harrison Butker gets 6 field goals. 6 field goals. Mahomes is stopped at the 20, 30. He hits a 58-yarder. Mahomes is stopped every time. There's a few sacks here and there. Not too many turnovers, as these two quarterbacks don't turn over the bar a lot. Harrison Butker scores all the freaking points. You got to tell me there's a better than 1% chance that this happens. 250 to 1? Sure. Why not?
I agree, and let's just clear the air on this one. Me and you had no discussion about what we were talking about in this show right now. Correct.
Correct.
I'm going to read this right now. 60 to 1 MVP winning position. Kicker. That is what I'm reading right now. And what did you just say?
There you go.
Because let's say both kickers. Let's say we've already talked that these these teams are not going to leave points on the field. And we all know the Eagles have had the top 5 defense all season long. We all know the Kansas City Chiefs have a great defense. If you're going to not leave points on the field and these two defenses go toe-to-toe, I already mentioned we can maybe see a 13-3 type of game. What if that's the case? Give me kicker 60 to 1 for winner position for MVP, because it would not shock me, just because all NFL season long when I was losing bets, and I can say it, I'm proud to say it, I did not have the best football season this year. But what I watched all season long was head coaches leaving points on the field, going for 4th downs when they should have taken the 3 points, and lose the game because they didn't take the 3 points. I think it goes reverse in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. 60 to 1. You can grab that. Because the Eagles one, for some reason, was a little bit less of a favorite. I don't know why. I think Butker's better than Elliott. So there you go. Maybe even CJ Gardner-Johnson, for a little bit too. Yep. At plus 20. He has the most interceptions for the Eagles, and maybe he gets one early just because it bounces off Kelsey's hands, and maybe the Chiefs are desperate to catch up down 10 points, and he gets another and runs it to the house. That's how he would be a defensive MVP, and that was also 251. So those are the two I kind of like for my long shots, and so great. It looks like we lined up on the kickers. I love that. So our beer bet bangers are hopefully they buy us a lot of beer because we both win.
Also, I don't have it in front of me, but if you like the Eagles, alternate point spread -7.5, you're probably going to get a really, really good juice. If the Eagles win, I don't think it's going to be a close game, because I have a feeling that if the Eagles win, let's say by double digits, is the dynasty over? Is Kelsey done with? Or what? I mean, we can see that scenario. I think if the Chiefs win, they win by 4 points or less. I think if the Eagles win, they're going to be close to winning by, I think, close to 10 points. So like that. So I'm looking at that one, maybe point spread proposition.
What is it, minus? Is it plus 240, plus 220?
Yeah, it's around there. I think I seen 250. I couldn't. Of course, I can't find it right now. But I would think it's not a big beer bet, but it's better than laying the 3.5 or the money line right now. You get better odds and stuff. I'd even take the -3.5. You're still probably getting plus money as that too.
Yeah, and when the Bills beat Mahomes earlier, it's because they were up by 9 points. You got to be up by 9. If you're up by 8 and they get the ball, forget it. They're going to be tied up and force overtime. If you're up by 9, you're safe. So I say you got to get past one score and keep it past one score. when you're playing the Chiefs, because if you don't, then that's where you lose the game. So I do like that idea and that thought too. But going to our next question here, who is going to win the Super Bowl, my man Raph? Who do you have on this one?
Right now, I actually have one line. I bet the under at 50. When that one book moved it at 50, I jumped on it right away. I'm leaning towards the Eagles right now. I'm saying that I have an action bet on it at 50 right now because I think
you're going to take the red. You're going to take the blue pill with the Eagles. The blue pill, saying that there is no controversy. This is happening. Keep me sleeping.
Because I think the total closes at 48 and a half. So I thought that I could get the best number at 50 if I like the under. But I'm leaning towards the Eagles if they can run the ball and keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. Because you just said he's the only one that can beat you in this game. And if you're the Eagles, watch the game that you watched last week against Buffalo. Watch boxing and UFC fights. If you want to be the champ, you don't let the judges give you the belt. You want to knock them down. You want to take care of them yourself. You need to win by 7 points or more, probably more. I would say 8 points or more because Patrick Mahomes can't go down there and get a miracle drive and he ties it up or wins it. You need to knock the champs out, just like in boxing and UFC. Don't leave it to the judges. Don't leave it to a field goal with no seconds because Kansas City's going to win that game. They're going to win that game 10 out of 10 times. If you're the Eagles, you KO them early. You want to go to the fourth quarter and already planning your parade already if you're the Eagles.
Well, I don't disagree with that because my metric handicap has the Eagles winning this by at least 3 points. So, I'm going to be talking about my total handicap on this game on our show next week early. It'll be the Monday or Tuesday show coming out. But, by the metrics, the Eagles are better. Now, I will say that it's funny. The quantitative one or the qualitative handicap is kind of, back and forth on this one. And it wouldn't shock me either way. I'm probably not going to bet a side. I'd rather take an alt line like you. I would rather take an alt line than a side in this game.
I agree. Couldn't agree more.
Absolutely. So that is awesome stuff. Raph, you're the best. Where can our listeners get your wonderful information and plays for the upcoming week?
Of course, you can find me over at DocSports.com. I'm doing a lot more videos with DocSports.com, so check me out on that. You can also find me on X at VSI.Sports. You can find me on Instagram at Raphael Esparza. You can find me on Coach and Company 4 days a week on all your streaming services, Amazon Prime, YouTube TV, Roku, all those stuff like that. And then you can also find me doing wrestling odds 3 days a week as well on those streaming services because now folks want everything on wrestling betting because there's a billion people that watch wrestling. There's a billion people looking for books that probably want to bet NFL, soccer, all that other stuff. So it's very good stuff. But you can always find me on social media.
Make sure you guys rate, review, and subscribe, and check out Mr. Raphael Esparza. We'll be talking soon, Raph.
Take it easy.